Not too long ago, while playing around with some funny strategies, I tried just spamming a ton of symphonic resonance in Chimps mode, and it was actually surprisingly good. So I decided that I was going to make a video and try to find out some good ways to use it and show you how to use this strategy. So first thing off, I'm going to do an important note here. This is definitely a guide on how to use the strategy, but it isn't like what you typically see. You probably know a few YouTubers who might upload a video like saying this is the greatest strategy ever, and it's on a beginner map and it only works there, and it's just that. But this is going to be a strategy based around this specific method, which is a form of late game support stalling, and I will be showing you kind of like what's compatible and what's good with it. So it's not like this specific set of towers, it's just the idea of spamming symphonic resonance in Chimps mode and how you would do that and what towers would be good. So for the first example, I'm going to be doing 3 black border examples. We're going to be looking at Polyus and doing the Prince of Darkness and Moab Eliminator. Of course, all of them will then be with multiple symphonic resonances in the late game to kind of push everything around and make a giant spinny cool wheel of death. That's what we're going to call it. So starting off here, I'm just going to have Quincy, something easy to start with, and then I'm going to be getting this Mermonkey here, the top path Mermonkey. That's because we're going to go for Prince of Darkness. Now you can start with Prince of Darkness and beat round 40 with it, but in order to make it consistent and guarantee that you have enough graveyard to beat it, you need a bunch of micro. So I decided I'm just not going to do that. We'll get the Mermonkey first, use Quincy ability on round 40, and then that thing's going to go down, and then we'll get our Prince of Darkness up. So starting with the Necromancer, just Alk buff that thing with Quincy, the Mermonkey, Village, and Alk buff Necromancer. You're going to have all of your bases covered for the mid game, and we should be able to get Prince of Darkness before round 63 with this setup, which is pretty cool. For that, you need to start saving up by the time dead on round 49 starts. So then you'll be able to guarantee that you'll get it before round 63. If you're a little bit late, you can use Quincy's ability, but in actuality, this setup alone should be able to beat round 63. On a harder maps, it probably doesn't though, so that's just something to be aware of. So we're getting the Prince of Darkness, and then we're going to be moving on with the Moab Eliminator, and then all of that good stuff. So now I'm just going to describe kind of what you need for the setup. The Symphonic Resonance spam only comes in the late game, round 90 and up. So let's take a look at what it's weak to, so we need to cover our bases. So it's weak to the ZOMG layer, but this really isn't a worry because you only need to pop the ZOMG layer itself, so the cleanup should be able to do that. After that, everything could just get sucked in. This really isn't an issue in most cases. On round 97, it could be a little bit of an issue because that ZOMG layer is now like double the health. But as long as you have something to kind of just deal with that, you should be fine. It's weak to round 100. This is a big issue, so you're going to need a lot of support against round 100. This is why for this build, I'm going for the Moab Eliminator, because we really don't have anything that would help out with it. A lot of times you might need a first strike and a spike storm. You could do Carpet of Spikes perhaps with it. That would be good. Just something to deal with that. And then it's going to be weak to ceramics. This is another huge issue, so you're going to need something to stop ceramics, whether that be a Bloon Liquefier and what was that? Bloon Liquefier and Snowstorm, or Bloon Solver itself. Prince of Darkness is going to be great against the ceramics, so that's going to be really good. Just something to stop the ceramics. And then it's also inconsistent to DDTs. It will do a lot of damage to DDTs, but it's possible that a DDT might slip by, so just take extra caution with that. In this case, Prince of Darkness just eats DDTs up, so that's not going to be an issue. I have all of the bases covered. I'm going to be getting that Moab Eliminator up, and I have the Prince of Darkness, ceramics, DDTs, everything's taken care of. We can then just take this, spam a bunch of symphonic resonances, and all of those nasty, like really heavy rounds that have tons of BFBs, they're just going to be not an issue. And it's a really fun way to deal with it too, because they just start spinning around in a funky circle, which is really nice. So one other thing that I'm going to mention is that you can retarget the totems and place them elsewhere, which is going to be really good, because we can put them kind of in a spot where it will be out of the way of everything, and basically not where our cleanup is. That's what I'm trying to say. So when they're going to be spinning around, they still can be targeted, so you don't want to be them where your where the cleanup is going to be on the track, so kind of like towards the end where that Prince of Darkness and the other Mermonkey, the Abyssal Warrior, is, because that's where we're kind of going to have to take out the ceramics when the Moabs and BFBs get spit out, and you want to deal the ceramics there. If you had them spinning all over on top of that, then you're going to be dealing damage to that instead of what actually needs to be dealt, maybe, possibly, and that could lead something to slip through. So just keep it away and everything's going to work out very well, and it's going to be super nice. So I got my Moab Eliminator up. I have a few of the Mermonkeys. You only want to get really 4 at most. Once you get 5, that starts to get a bit overkill. It's a bit funny, but it's just not that effective. Pair that with like maybe a Moab glue or something and you'll be good. So here against around 95, as you can see, they actually get most of the DDTs. It's just possible that one of them might slip through. So for a black border, you really need to be careful and aware of that. Maybe like a Sabo and hit it if something's leaking through. Or if you have a hero that will just take out the DDTs, like maybe Sawdust Sword Charge or something, that should do just fine. But just keep aware of that. You can use that Moab Eliminator ability to take out the ZOMG layers too, which is really nice. Most of the time that should just be covered. The Prince of Darkness could even do that. Round 97 though, probably not though, so just keep that in mind. And then that Moab Eliminator will also take out round 100 for us, which is super nice. But as you can see here on round 98, just those 4 Mermonkeys, everything just starts spinning around and they're not going anywhere. It's really nice and really cool. Round 99 though, that also happened too. Round 100, we're just going to spam our Moab Eliminator ability. This time, on the first time, I forgot that I kind of need to like move this back, but once I did that, then everything was able to get in the range of the totem and spin around, and it was super cool. So now let's take a look at this strategy on a harder map. We're going to be looking at Pat's Pond. I absolutely hate this map. We're going to be doing it with Glaive Lord, Gwendolyn, and Final Harmonic. Again, this will also cover all of our bases. The Final Harmonic and Glaive Lord combination, you probably know, that will give us one of our symphonic resonances. It's going to deal with ZOMGs and the bad, which is super cool. And Gwendolyn will deal with the DDTs issue, which is going to be really nice. And Glaive Lord, the orbital glaives, that's just going to clean up whatever ceramics. I'm also going to pair that with a Arctic Wind just to guarantee it, because this map is pretty short. So I guess this is what I was saying earlier about kind of how this is a guide on like how you could implement this exact strategy of just getting a ton of symphonic resonances in the late game, because you really can do this with like a whole bunch of stuff. It's not limited to one thing as opposed to other this is the best strategy in the whole game videos where it's just like 3 random towers on a beginner map, and if you try to do it anywhere else, it's going to absolutely fail. So I'm really going to try to show you some pretty tricky maps. Pat's Pond, I'm not really going to go into some expert maps, just because it would probably take a while to like find a consistent strategy for that. If I'm doing a black border, I did it on Ouch with like 9 of them. I think that was kind of funky to do, but yeah, so just like 4 of them, and find a good strategy that works. You could probably pull this off on expert maps just fine too. So that's all of that. And also this cool trick, if you did not know, if you put a heli pilot that has pursuit on patrol points, it will pursuit only in that specific patrol points area. So that's really good on maps like this, where you don't want the heli just like in the middle of the map for no reason. It's just going to stay and pursue the closest target within that given area that it's in, which is pretty cool. So I use that when we're doing comm def mid game with Gwendolyn. I'm outbuffing both Gwendolyn and the Morglaives with a stronger stimulant, which is going to be really good. That's going to help out here in the mid game a lot. So they're going to do a lot of damage. Gwendolyn actually does a ton of damage with Alc buff, kind of crazy. And then that should just save up into Glaive Lord. And then from there, we can go into everything else. So our Final Harmonic will be next. And then with that, I'll be able to get just a few more symphonic resonances. And that's going to have everything taken care of. No fortified BFBs, Moabs, all that stuff. None of that's leaking because it's going to stay right on top of the Glaive Lord, and then Glaive Lord will have enough time to take everything out. I'm just going to get that MIB in there and then that Arctic Wind, and that's going to just guarantee that no ceramics may slip through, because sometimes that's a possibility. just taking care of that. Anyways, from there, now we're gonna just save up for the final harmonic. This is gonna take care of the ZOMGs. Gwendolyn's getting levels. She's gonna get levels later on that give plus damage to lead balloons. So really, if I use Gwendolyn's abilities, the DDTs are just gonna be melted, which is gonna be really, really nice. So that's taken care of, and everything's pretty good. The one thing that I guess I'll mention, you'll see this later, is round 100. All of the damage is done like right before the bad leaves, so it was actually kind of tricky to time first strike. I was wondering if it was possible to beat this without a first strike, and it just didn't work. So obviously you know that this combo has an insane amount of round 100 damage. Typically you don't need anything for round 100 here, but just because everything is right at the end of the map, it really didn't work out like that, just specifically to this map. So here I actually did need first strike. Normally you won't need it if you do something like this. So this is kind of more looking at the two of these synergies, I guess. More so I guess the Glaive Lord and final harmonic, but at the end here I'm also going to get a bunch of symphonic resonances, and with that and the final harmonic, these guys are just going to be spinning around in circles, and it's going to be really funny. So all those BFBs, as you saw there, they just went in circles. Also on round 98, I believe every single BFB will then be put in there too. So it's kind of like just spamming the balloon chippers in BTD5, if you know what I mean. Like right there, nothing got through. Every single BFB on round 98 got put into the big circle of death from just 4 of them. Well, I guess it's 3 symphonic resonances and the final harmonic, but that really can do a lot. Use my abilities on round 99 there just in case nothing got through. In fact, every time I did that, it was all good. The patrol points ended up going in the middle for some reason. I did not target that, but as you can see, it does take it out just because it has an insane amount of round 100 damage, but it's only at the very end, so they do end up getting through. Because of that, I will need to buy a first strike here, and then we should be good. Just got to time it. It's actually really hard to time it with that, but there it is. That's Pat's Pond. That was a first try black border if it wasn't for testing out round 100 on that map, which is actually pretty cool. Now we have another one. This will be the last example. It's going to be here on Peninsula Chimps. I'm going to be taking a look at doing this with Brickle, Solver, and Preemptive Strike. Just another fair few towers that will pair really well, take care of all the weaknesses, and then we can use our symphonic resonance spam just to have all of those BFBs and heavy rounds kind of in a lock, just spinning around in circles, which is again really nice. So to cover again all of the bases, we have Brickle. Using the Megamind will just actually take out all of the ZOMG layers, which is pretty cool. So you'll see me doing that there too. The Preemptive Strike will be able to solo every single DDT and deal with 100, which is pretty cool. And then we have the Bloons Solver, which will take out all of the ceramics. So we could use this on like this water map here, Peninsula, and it's going to be really nice. I'll pair this with a sub-commander too, so round 99 doesn't give me an issue because the Preemptive Strike can't solo all the DDTs unless it has the sub-commander buff, but we'll also use the sub-commander for this early game, so we'll beat round 40 with all of that, and we'll get the sub-commander up before round 63, so we're going to be saving up right around 49, and then I'll be able to get sub-commander for 63, and that should be dealt with. Then I'll be able to get Bloons Solver, save it for Preemptive Strike, and then we can start spamming the symphonic resonances, and everything should be super easy, all really chill. And it was another quite easy black border on the first try. So the one thing to note about this is that this really is cutting it extremely close in the budget. I was only able to start buying the symphonic resonances quite late. I was still able to get it nonetheless, but if you ever have like a mishap and you need to go out of your way for something, then it really is kind of close on the money. So when you're making a strategy, you need to be sure that you really aren't spending way too much, because there's extra costs here and there that you might not notice. That sub for the decamo cost a bit. When you get the village, that's going to cost some. The towers that you need to start is also going to cost some, so you can't just like go into a Chimps game, put 179 $1,000 and be like, oh, I can buy like all of these tier 5 damage towers. That's not really the case. So for this one, it was cutting it a little bit close, but I was still able to get it. So if you're ever going to try to do something like this specifically, then just keep in mind that you might not be able to get all of them. So only on round 94 there, I got the first symphonic resonance, which wasn't a good time because that's where like a ton of BFBs start coming in. 95, that was pretty chill, nothing got through. I was able to get another one here on 96, and by 98 we should be able to have 3 of them. I could buy 4 if I wanted to. I think I ended off with a little bit extra cash spare than I would have needed. 97, it got a little bit closer because I kind of wasn't really expected for 97, because sometimes, as I said, that could be a little bit tricky. I was still able to beat it though just fine. 98, just with those 3 ones, they just went in the circle and take it out really easy. And then for 100, I'm gonna first strike this. So, and I get a cool insta-monkey, so everything was pretty chill, really cool. And this definitely is a fun strategy. I haven't seen anybody use it before, and after I beat that oust challenge with it, I was like, that's pretty crazy, let's do some videos with it. So that's kind of an explanation of how it works with 3 wildly different examples. Of course, you could really do it with anything that would fit the criteria that I mentioned before, and if you try it out, let me know. I think it's pretty cool. So if you're new here and you thought this video was extremely useful, I have a ton of other informative guides that kind of teach you the basics and fundamentals of it instead of just telling you in order to buy the towers. So if you want to check that out, I have an entire series on how to black border every map and another series on every tower, so check those out.
Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!